Alright everyone, here we are with ticker symbol Nndm, Nano Dimensions. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel. Invest for tomorrow. To all my subscribers, welcome back. And let's jump into this chart. So here we are with Nano Dimensions, and it has been in a downward trend. I mean, when you look at it, even though the offering happened, it has been in this direction. Forget about the offering going down to $6. I mean, even if you were to just kind of eliminate this and draw a line and make it just go in this direction, or kind of just connect from here to here, you can just see that even at that point, it's just going to newer lows. I mean, it does a new peak, then it does another little peak, did another little peak, and then it just keeps going down. So since the offering, obviously it had an effect on it, but without the offering, I think that this could have had a little bit more room, I guess, to run, but at the same time we would be somewhere in this direction because the hype and the excitement was going to slow down, right? Nano Dimensions gave out good news on Friday as the shelf offering was happening that 10 customers already switched their 3D printers to the new Dragonfly and this and that. So orders are being done. There are sales. That's a good thing, but things are kind of more quiet now for Nano Dimensions. Like, people would have been more excited and said, okay, well, the offerings are over now. Let's watch this one run up now, right? That's what a lot of people are saying. That's what a lot of people are asking. Where is it? So it's kind of like sideways right now, and we have some numbers here to kind of break down and look closely at, due to the fact that this is actually going in this direction. Now, could it go back in this direction, or could it actually just be something that's going to continue until it levels off and cools off and then brings itself back up over time, right? Because something that a lot of people have seen in the recent offerings is that every time it happened, yeah, it dropped dramatically and then it just ran up. It dropped and it ran up, right? Every single time it dropped and it ran up. Now, one of the offerings that people don't remember about, or it already happened and like we don't think much about it because it's not something that happened in the recent offerings, was way back here when it ran up to almost $6 and then it dropped down to about $2.68. That's something that we need to keep in mind. Could something like this past experience with the stock happen again and actually go on its way down towards what? Probably the same amount that happened here, like a $4 change or a $2-3 change, and then cool off and then have another nice run. Obviously it's going to be above 268. If that does happen, it'll hang out somewhere in the $4-3 range, cool off, and then bring itself back up. That's something to keep in mind and watch for, because the most recent offerings, like, it would fall dramatically and then run up. Excuse me for that. That was the previous video I did, Ideonomics. So for those of you that are also looking for an analysis on Ideonomics, I did one earlier today. So here we are seeing Nano Dimensions, right? It does that drop, like I was saying, in the offerings, and then it ran up. This was one of the offerings that had an impact on it and actually slowly started to bring it down, and then it started to rise back up. So we need to keep in mind these past behaviors, that they don't come back again or don't react the same again. Now, some of you might disagree with me or agree with me, but it's always good to think about how the stock once acted after an offering when it reached almost $6, and this one reached almost $8. So I'm not saying that it's going to go back down to the same numbers, but if it reacts the same, it could probably go down, $3 to $4 from where it's at, and it'll be somewhere around the high threes all the way up to like $5, cool off, and then run again, which would be kind of healthy for the stock to continue its run, not just a stock being bullish all the way. But another thing that we've seen that's a little bit different is that usually after the offering, the stock would be bullish again within like a week. And then that's how Nano was able to do another offering after another offering after another offering, right? And here we are seeing it kind of just steady and in a downward direction since the offering, and then no bullish run. But it's too early to tell. I mean, the offering just happened Friday and Monday, and it's kind of holding itself up. That's the good sign. But when you look at it, it is in a downward direction. And even when the bulls look like they're about to reappear, the bears appear again. And that right there is not the best sign, because the bears are dominating and keeping this below the 50-day moving average. Now, if we pull up other indicators that I like to use, which I'm going to show you guys here, I usually use this during intratrade, during the day, to know what's going on. And they're not all perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect indicator, but it does show you a little bit better of a sense of what's going on. So one of the most important things is volume. So right now, based off the MACD, it looks like, because of the fact that this candlestick here, which was only 15,000 in volume between sales and buys, which is pretty low compared to what happened throughout the day, right? The day was filled with like 30,000, 17, and then, 16, 38,000, 58,000 in numbers of orders. So 15 is kind of a little bit on the lower end of things, but it's changing the MACD's trajectory, right? You can see that here. There's some momentum here, and they broke through this indicator that is pretty important, that once it gets broken through, it could pull itself up a little bit. So you could see here, it pulled itself up from about 664 up to the resistance yesterday at 681, but it didn't hold for long, and it actually broke right back through it. And that's where you could see that it pulled itself down, got close to it, but it didn't break through it, and it continued to pull itself down. So here we're seeing them actually break through it, but this is after hours type of volume and indication. So we need to watch this closely as the after hours continue. If it pulls itself up to another candlestick a little bit higher, or even kind of sideways, or tomorrow morning, we will get a true indication if this is going to continue. But it slightly has broken through, and it's kind of sitting on it. And the MACD is already doing kind of a reversal here. You could see slightly that it's kind of been sideways, and it's doing like an upward trend here. And you can see these dark bars are dark green. So if they continue that upward direction of dark green, like you could see here, like a steady staircase, or even here, I mean, that one was pretty significant back over here at this point. But if it continues that staircase and no light shaded green appears, because you could see that here, because once that starts, that means that it's going back in the other direction. If this continues that staircase effect and dark green bars on the MACD, there's a possibility that this can hold itself up in the upward direction. But we're going to look at these resistance levels that are super important to break through, that even if the MACD is indicating it's working its way up, and this indicator here is showing us, right, this moving average, that it's showing us that it's looking like it can work itself up, it might be one of those effects like this one, that it pulled itself up from about 664 to 681 and then kind of leveled off. So if it doesn't work its way all the way up to these resistance levels and numbers that we're about to talk about, it only kind of shows that it was temporary. It was for a little period of time. It wasn't something that was going to continue. So the MACD and the indicator here are showing that there is a potential for this to slowly rise, but we need to see how it continues to play out the rest of the day. I just wanted to go over that with you guys, show it to you guys what's going on, and it's showing a sense of slight momentum upwards, but we're going to look at the numbers that need to be broken through so that this momentum can continue. So let's see here, one of the highest points of the day, which is really close to the 50-day moving average, and the 50-day moving average is just as significant. So the 50-day moving average is 676. Super important number for the bulls to break through. They need to turn that into a support and break away from it deeper into bullish territory. We're currently below it, so we're in bearish territory at 650. And it's important for us to know that, because that shows us what side we're on and who's dominating the chart. We've been below it since December 9th, which was yesterday, and the bulls are having slight momentum here, but they need to push through and push strong and load up on stocks to bring this up to the resistance. But before we look at that, I want to look at our new support, and the support here is 635. 635 is significant because it's the lowest point here in the last couple of days, and if that gets broken through, we have our next point down here that I've talked about in the previous videos of 601, which is 34 cents away from our current support level. So if 635 gets broken through, you can see how the stock is behaving between our current support and the lowest support at 601, and see if the bears are dominating, tearing this one down, or if the bulls are trying to reappear and bring it back up. It's super important to watch the behavior because we're already in bearish territory, and breaking through support just signifies that we're getting deeper and deeper into bearish territory. Now, here we are with our resistance, 675, 1 cent away from the 50-day moving average. So the bulls definitely need to break through this, turn this into a support, and jump that 1 cent over the 50-day moving average to get back into bullish territory. It's super important for the bulls to do so. And their first point of reference is breaking through this resistance, turning it into a support, and pulling away from it to reach newer highs and new resistance levels. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.